I felt like I saw this coming. I'm gonna have to do a spontaneous hagiography here. Wait, what? Why are you recording? He just puts up his hands. I don't know. I felt the vibe. That was pretty funny. He doesn't know. I just hit record. Okay. I did kind of sense this that that's why yesterday I asked Maya, "Are you sure you're ready?" But and that's why I probably I'm actually a little conservative when it comes down to teaching and things like that. So I would have worn a little bit of a different shirt. I know that doesn't matter. I mean, I'm a yogi. I love actually not having a shirt on, but people get crazy out there. Okay, so I just like to keep it conservative for the general public. And so anyway, but who cares, right? I guess that's great for me. A little teaching. Um, Thanks, Maya. Really put me out there today. I'm reading from the Wikipedia. Here, I have a good reason for this. Take it away, Yeshi. Um, I have a good reason for this because I love facts. I love details. Okay. Oh, don't worry, Maya. It's all good. I still look forward to the presentation, and it's gonna come right on time, right when it's meant to come on time. So I don't mess with the Dakini vibes, okay? Whenever that presentation presents itself, it will. So anyway, but I want to get down here with this biography since nobody has any other sharing going on today. We might as well get right into Thangtong Gyalpo. Gyalpo, depending how you pronounce that, different regions have different pronunciations. Um, Yeshi, so you're already recording. Maybe don't add my insecurities in there at the beginning. Just joking, okay? You'll find a good intro part. But here's why I'm just gonna piggyback off Wikipedia because Maya put me in this position. First of all, and that has multiple dimensions of meaning. Maya as outer, and inner, and secret. So, but I've always found this yogi fascinating. And I love details. I'm a sucker for facts and details, and the sources on this particular wiki page are pretty presentable, decent, fact checked. So I'll go ahead and run with it. And in the name of preservation, believe it or not, this four, 14th, 15th century yogi invented the first chain bridges, and he was also an Dzogchen practitioner. So all that's pretty cool. And if you look up Thangtong Gyalpo or who invented the first chain bridges, you may find an English gentleman that's been put in there, but the Thangtong Gyalpo is known for to precede that British inventor. So yeah, feel free to check that out and dig into it. So he was born in 1385. He lived around the time of Longchenpa. Isn't that great? I think Longchenpa was born in 1308, and then passed around 1464. So lived into the 15th century. Uh, yeah. So he's the also known as Chakzampa, the Iron Bridge Maker, and Tsongdru Zampo, excellent persistence. Uh, it's common for many yogis to have various names depending on if they're a Turton, if they're a Chud practitioner, if they're a Toku, if they're ordained or not. So one could end up taking on multiple names. For example, I still keep my original ordination name, Tapkidorje, or my original refuge name, Tapkidorje, and then as well as my ordination name, Dawai. Yeah, so he was known uh, as the madman of the empty valley. He was a great Buddhist adept and chub master, yogi, physician, blacksmith, architect, and a pioneering civil engineer. And those who don't know what chud is, it's a probably endangered practice. It's very intriguing for a lot of modern people, but they simply do not practice it. And it's very loud, so a lot of people don't grab a giant drum and a bell and practice chud. It's still being preserved within the Tibetan tradition, of course, and there are many monastic, uh, female and male monastic traditions that are preserving chud, but it is going extinct. But there are some pretty cool chud videos online, and some Westerners are adopting it, thankfully. And if you look, I suppose it would be there. There are two chud drums right there. That if I was not lazy, I would show them to you. Okay. So we'll continue on our mission here. So chud practitioner and iron bridge maker. Very interesting, right? He's considered the mind emanation of Padmasambhava, Guru Rinpoche, and a reincarnation of Dolpapa, Sharab Galton. He founded the Iron Chain lineage. Isn't that cool? Iron Chain lineage of the Shangpa Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism. And he recognized the first Samding Dorje Pangmo, Choki Droma, in the 15th century, the female incarnation lineage of Vajravarahi. Very cool. So really connected with the female yoginis too. So that's cool. And not afraid to preserve the female practitioners. Sometimes when a lineage holder puts themselves out there or a practitioner puts themselves out there and says, I think males and females and everybody in between can be just as realized. That's a sacrifice. Particularly in the olden days, it was like a political sacrifice, right? And some went out on that limb. Even Buddha Shakyamuni was famous for that, although his resistance to a female lineage of monastics was a little strange. And you'll see inserts in various sutras that seem like they're patriarchal inserts and binary kind of inserts and things like that as far as gender goes. But it is what it is. Um, but our group particularly is very diverse and safe for diversity and just being different. So it's very precious in that way. Um, and so, because you'll find many yogis that don't fit gender binaries, or they tend to go into various identifications of, and it's, yeah, and to marginalize them to me would be a travesty. So I feel like creating a true safe space, non-political, for the extravagant, the fabulous, right? Whoever is truly essential if we want to preserve the eclectic, abstract, and unique aspects of this, the artistic, you know, the people breaking out of the constructs and this molded reality. I mean, this has to happen. We can't be cartoon reified, constructed into some reality that's based on physicality and I must get my meat and I must eat and but anyway, yeah, pretty deep topic. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, Maya says we are non-binary, and I would agree with that. We have both of these incredible forces in us, or energies of feminine, masculine, united, particularly on the ultimate level of cognizance and emptiness. And so that manifests energetically in various ways and various levels of Zoom, right? So it's great when we can make peace with both of those within us. I think it's truly, I've personally always had a hard time identifying with one or the other. I haven't really ever put that out there before, but um, some people in the group know that's how it is, and I feel like many can relate to that. So I'll just get back to the biography here. I just I like the way he's breaking the norms, Thangtong Gyalpo here. So Thangtong Gyalpo is said to have built 58 iron chain suspension bridges. Oh yeah, there's suspension bridges too around Tibet and Bhutan, several of which are still in use today. And that number is significant, 58. It's also significant in the Dharma. Um, for example, you have the 58, I think, wrathful deities. So he also designed and built several large stupas, which are basically monuments, if you don't know, of unusual design, including the great Kumbum at Chung Rinpoche, Tibet, established Gonchen Monastery in Durga, and is considered to be the father of a style of Tibetan opera called Lamo. Can you just mouse over Lamo? That's a female, that's also feminine. Lamo or Archie Lamo is a classical secular theater of Tibet with music and dance that has been performed for centuries, whose nearest Western equivalent is opera. Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of seeing these. They are pretty cool, and they tell stories. And um, remember, the Tibetans have since before Christ have been doing these so-called operas, telling their stories, especially the Gesar Ling, where I cited Kukurepa's story from. It seemed like they were just adding on to this oral lineage of spreading information and tales and dharma and everything, right? Preserving their historicity. So that's very cool. And he was to be the father of that style, and it's associated with the Shangpa Kagyu, Nyingma, and Sakya traditions of Tibetan Buddhism, and with the tradition of mad yogis known as Nyompa. Thangtong Gyalpo is also considered as a sorcerer character in a popular Tibetan story of Gesar. In addition, he is believed to be the most widely traveled person in Tibetan history. All right, any questions, comments so far? Any suspension bridge builders out there?
I have built a bridge.
Oh, very good.
I made it rope.
Out of what now?
Out of rope.
Oh, yeah.
It was an art project I did, community thing where people donated their own fabric, and then in workshops we sewed all the fabric together, and then we twisted it together into ropes, and then we made this really colorful bridge. It was a sort of ancestral practice relating to the Peruvian rope bridge builders.
Oh, that's amazing. Very cool. Rongchen is so unique. He's got so much, you never know what you're going to find out about Rongchen. So much in there. Thank you for sharing that. So, Tangtong Gyalpo was born in Opa, Lartse, in Upper Tsang, modern Ngaring County, in 1385 CE, the Wood Ox year, 6th cycle. He's best known for founding of Lamo or Tibetan opera, yes, we already saw that, as well as numerous iron suspension bridges he built to ease travel and pilgrimage through the Himalayas. He established a song and dance troupe of 7 sisters to raise money needed to build these bridges. Yeah, that's very great. Rangchen, you are also a Tangtung Gyalpo. Thangtong Gyalpo also founded Gochin Monastery, a large Sakya Vihara and printing center in the town of Durga, Kyam, modern Sichuan, China. Okay, And then let's see what else is going on here. Tangtong Gyalpo opened a route to the land of Gongpo Aborigines, the Lawa, looks like the Lawa people, where he obtained iron for his bridges and rites of passage for Tibetan pilgrimages to visit the holy places of Tsari to the southeast of Dakpo near the Indian border. He is considered to be the patron saint of theater and became known as the madman of the empty land. Plays traditionally have an altar erected in the middle of the stage surrounded by trees, where the god of drama, Thangtong Gyalpo, is worshipped as an elderly man with a white beard. He is said to have made 108 iron chain suspension bridges, though another account says 58 suspension bridges and 118 ferry crossings, the most celebrated being the one over the Yarlung Tsangpo near modern Tushol. By the way, those numbers really both 58 and 108 seem like they're metaphoric. So he is often shown in murals with long white hair and holding some chain links from his bridges. Ah, you see, he even invented the trend of wearing chains around your neck. Oh, yes, you got a picture there. Wow, that's a large bridge. That's a great bridge. So, one of his iron chain suspension bridges, crucial Chucksum. Oh, yeah, go ahead. You want to jump in? Uh, Somebody has become unmuted there. So, yeah, in Choshu Chucksum, about 40 miles or 65 kilometers from Lhasa on the Yarlung Tangpo River, still existed in 1948, though it was in need of repairs and no longer used, the crossing being made by ferry. The old bridge was destroyed when a new one was opened about 100 meters west of it. The old bridge was described as being of ancient design. Two thick chains are tied to heavy wooden beams underneath the pillars, from the top of which are suspended 12-foot or 4-meter ropes hung from the chains and support wooden boards a yard or 1 meter long and a foot or 30 centimeters broad, allowing passage for one man, or probably one woman, or so the bridge is 100 paces long. Oh, I guess they mean that in the general sense. Okay, yeah, very cool. So at the south end of the Sangpo Bridge was Thangtong Gyalpo's main gompa, founded in 1444, Chakcham Chowri. So that's his main temple. And he lived in the Chaksom Labrang, the main building of the complex, which included the assembly hall. The Gompo had 100 monks, supported by the toll on the bridge. Wow, probably the first toll. No, maybe not. No, I'm sure the Greeks and the Romans had toll bridges. But uh, thanks a lot, Tangjong Galpo. We sure love them toll bridges. So, um, yeah, interesting. So there was also a large stupa known as Tangtong Kombom at the southern end of the bridge, which was contained his relics, and a chapel at the top contained an image of him. The Gompo was destroyed during the Cultural Revolution. Keith Dowman reports that all evidence of its existence has now vanished. Wow, so just putting this on YouTube is probably a great act of preservation. So his teachers, Tangtong Gyalpo, is said to have studied with over 500 teachers in Tibet, India, and Nepal, Part of the impetus for his intensive travel throughout the region was to meet and study with various Vajrayana Tokus, teachers, lineage holders, and yogis and yoginis. The Dakini Nguma. Ah, we all know Nguma. So, one of Thangtong Gyalpo's most important teachers was the great Dakini Nguma, who visited him in visions 3 times over a period of years. Thangtong Gyalpo had another notable teacher as well, who also offered him direct teachings of Naguma's spiritual practice. He received the transmission of Naguma's instructions from the master Jamsam Jingpo Sangpo, passed down through the lineage of 7 jewels and Zhangchungpa Sangma Shangtong in the 1234 to 1309. He may also have studied the same instructions under the guidance of Dorje Shunu and Bochin Namkin Naljor, both disciples of Gyaltsen Palsong. I know there's a lot of names here, but Gyaltsen Palsong and there are a lot of people out there that can tie this stuff together, at least to some degree. So the first vision of Naguma, this is great. We're going into Naguma. He obviously has a connection with the feminine and the Dakinis. It says after receiving teachings from Jangsem Jingpo Sangpo, Tongtong Gyalpo went into retreat and was visited in a vision by Naguma. Naguma gave him direct transmission of the 6 yogas of Naguma, which a lot of times are called the 6 yogas of Naropa, and they sometimes believe that Naropa's came first, but it really is looking like Naguma's, like Naropa got him from Naguma, since they were sort of contemporaries. So, but anyway, it says here this during a profound visionary experience, the Dakini Naguma herself bestowed upon him the 4 initiations, specific instructions concerning the esoteric significance of her Vajra lines, and an extraordinary technique for transcendence of consciousness through meditation on the white and red forms of Kasiri. Tongtong's mastery of these practices is said to have gained him the ability to instantly emanate many forms, to know what other people were thinking, and to perform the transference of consciousness from afar for the benefit of another person. Yeah, so there he's talking about Poa. They're talking about Poa and a unique kind of, it looks almost fragmented translation, but this sounds a little bit more hyped up than it is. It's a reference to the 6 supercognitions and the ability to emanate many forms, to know what other people are thinking. These are even the dogs know what you're thinking. Okay, please don't over glamorize this. Clairvoyance, telepathy, these come natural to us when our mind is uncongested. And then you have a sort of compassion there. You don't abuse that, what you're sensing, what you're feeling, intuitively reading from people. You don't make the situation uncomfortable or abusive. So yeah, and I suppose I could go further into that, benefiting, doing the transference of consciousness. Through Poa, they do the ka, hick, ka, and they basically soften up the crown of your head. You do it through practice, and then they jab a little wheat stick in there to see if you softened it up enough. Um, but one can do that then from, and basically, if there are beings within pure presence that are dying or something like that, uh, I feel anyway, my interpretation, okay, is that by resting in pure presence is the ultimate way to benefit beings, because you're almost like a lighthouse then, or a beacon of light for a ship, right? In terms of consciousness, but I suppose I won't go into that too much. So anyway, it says the second vision of Naguma, the second visionary visit of Naguma to Tangtong Gyalpo was a few years later. Thangtong Gyalpo was traveling from his birthplace in Lhasa soon after he had returned to Tibet from Udayana. Oh, he was in Udayana too. That was really the in place to be. So, in a grove of juniper trees, at a place called Singpo Dzok, Demon Fort. He was approached again by the Dakini Naguma, this time in the form of 50-year-old shepherd girl. A 15, excuse me, yeah, that didn't make sense. 15-year-old shepherd girl. Probably wouldn't be a 50-year-old shepherd girl. Um, on this occasion, she gave him special instructions concerning the sequence of visualizations during meditation and bestowed the blessing of the illusory body. Yeah, that was, it looks like it has a reference to Kirim and Zokram practices and the Togyao practice. So this is all allegorical too. These visions, many layers of meaning that I'm not going to try to unpack. So the third vision of Naguma, Thangtong, spiritual instructions from Naguma, were only recorded many years later in 1458. Again, we see the number 58. This was the same year of his third vision of Naguma. He finally received, in a third vision, permission to write down what Naguma had previously given him. This event occurred at Rioche, and the instructions were recorded by Tongtong's disciple, Lodro Gyaltsen, through whom the major lineage was subsequently transmitted. These instructions, known as a collection of the essentials, Ningpo Kundu, and a group of related teachings, have been passed down as the Thangtong tradition. That would be Tanglok Lung of the Shangpa Kagyu lineage, and are among the few texts actually signed by the great adept, Machik Lobdrin. Thangtong Gyalpo was also a church practitioner. Wow, that's why I choose not to use Wikipedia. It just says Machik Lobdrin. I think that was one of his students. What it meant to say there. It just says Thangtong Gyalpo is also a church practitioner under Machik Lobdrin. It's so strange. But I believe that he was Machik Lobdrin's church teacher. So students, Choki Droma, the Samding Dorje Fangmo, 15th century, was one of Thangtong Gyalpo's students and his main consort. He is said to have recognized her as the incarnation of Vajravahi and to have associated her with the deity's prophecies and later to have identified her reincarnation. Lineage founding. Thangtong Gyalpo began a spiritual lineage called the Tanglok or Chuksam, iron chain lineage, inside of the Shangpa Kagyu school. So the iron chain lineage is part of the Shangpa Kagyu school. What are known as the collection of the essentials or Ningpo Kundu, along with the collection of related teachings, came to Tangtong Gyalpo in visions from the great wisdom Dakini Naguma. Thangtong Gyalpo combined the Shangpa and Zhengter northern treasures teachings with traditions and traditions. You combine those, okay. There is an incarnation line of Chaksampa Thangtong Gyalpo in Bhutan that continues into contemporary times. The current incarnation was born on 16th of November 1973. Okay, then he has many sadhanas and prayers, and he has empowerments. Yeah, keep on going. Yep, keep on going. So he's also well known in Bhutan. In 1433, Tongtup Gyalpo and his disciples traveled to Pagri in the Shombi Valley of Tibet, and from there to the Paru Tongsung in Bhutan. According to his biography, while performing rituals of Vajrakalaya, there he had a vision of the assembly of the eight classes of Haruka, meditational deities, with Vajrakumara as the central figure. Now, this guy either took a lot of shrooms and acid, or he was, really connected to the Dharma, having all these visions all the time. It's like Dujam Lingpa, right? All these visions. They're very lucky. I believe in the visions. I probably would have serious doubt towards visions if I had not had some myself, and they proved to be very inspirational, outlasting experience and thoughts and beliefs I had, outlasting all my Dharma paraphernalia, everything. These visions ended up leaving such an impact on me that, um, yeah, I can dig it. So it says here, it is said that the nine-headed Naga spirit, who was the guardian of the sacred place of Paru Taktsang, declared, "Your religious inheritance was concealed here by Organ Rinpoche. Please make your discovery and reveal it." That's Guru Rinpoche, Organ Rinpoche. Thereupon, Drupchen Thangtong Gyalpo extracted a sacred scroll, 10 body lengths long, from the cliff of Taksang. Oh, bodies are quite different lengths, but okay. Um, Anyway, I want to say something about this. This is the Terma tradition, the treasure revealers. So he was a sort of Turton then, and Turtons, treasure revealers, reveal Termas, treasures. But what seems to be confusing many people out there, including many academics, is that there's outer, inner, and secret Termas. And so I believe in the Yarlung dynasties of Tibet, when the Dharma actually, because Buddha Shakyamuni really traveled everywhere. He was way past Tibet, up in the Tarim Basin, way north of Tibet, spreading the Dharma. So we got to assume that the Dharma came to Tibet pre 8th century. Um, but it's widely said that they could not read. In fact, they hadn't had a language system yet. We could also go into who invented their language system and things like that from the 8th to the 12th centuries. So prior to that, perhaps a lot of Dharma came up there and they could not read it. And so it was stashed away, it was hidden. So therefore, you do have real termas, real treasures scattered throughout Tibet, um, that, that were actually hidden in the name of preservation during tribal warrings and all kinds of drama. These things were hidden all the time. So there's a lot of truth to that external discovery of the Dharma in terms of treasures. And then the internal would be more of a meditation. Like if I was just resting here and all of a sudden I had an awesome way for people to practice Dzogchen, it just came to me. And it's still rooted in the Dharma, so it still has refuge, bodhicitta, guru yoga, and all these things, dedication. So it would be a terma then, right? And then secret termas could probably be those are your own realizations, your own sort of revelations. So a lot of this is encoded with twilight language and quite allegorical. And what happens is people try to systematize it and make it all one coherent story, and they basically are neglecting the fact that all this information has three dimensions to it. So, anyways, it can be quite iconography, a lot of iconography, and it can be quite symbolic and encoded. Anyway, and it can be fun to decode it. So it says here, yeah, he found that scroll, and the line of mountains where Trucksong is located is shaped like a black snake, with its head in the middle of a Paru Valley. On the nose of this snake, the Drutop constructed uh, constructed Jangsa Damseg Langhang, a stupa-shaped temple, and pronounced that all diseases caused by evil spirits residing under the ground were suppressed and that the valley would be free from leprosy. Yeah, so a lot of spiritualism, a lot of mysticism here. Arriving at a place called Purdue, he saw a five-colored rainbow upon which were seated Buddha Amitabha, Avalokiteshvara, and Padmasambhava, and declared that the place was as sacred as Potala Mountain. At Tamchognang, at the foot of the Podru Mountains, he established Tamchog Lakdong Temple and made sacred representations of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. This temple was located opposite the road from Paru. Before Chöpsom is still maintained by the descendants of Druptum Thangtong Gyalpo. Okay, so basically maybe still maintained to this day. All right, so we'll keep scrolling a little bit because yeah, so it says he climbed a steep mountain cliff impossible to climb by the ordinary humans. Very good. I'm just gonna browse through this. Okay, so it's just going through his history where he built these iron bridges in collaboration with lots of different people. And after about 3 months, it says he had 7,000 iron links and many iron hammers and bars. At Kiwangpong and other places, he built stupas to subdue the spirits in these areas. At Chongmunka, Rawaka, Nyao Pangmodrong, Tachogang, Wondo, Drongkar, Silong, Bogdrong, and many other places, he conducted a lot of religious activities by providing image scripture, stupa, iron bridges, and established meditation centers. When he returned to Pari, the patrons and monks of the new monastery in Paru reached 1,400 loads of iron, 15 pieces of iron making a load, and 700 loads of ink, paper, and other goods to Pari. The bridge can still be seen today, featuring majestically on the hill beside the river of Pachu. The suspension bridge was very old enough during the year of 2017, thus it is closed for either renovation or for people's safety. Gotta love that Wikipedia writing. So, death, Tongtong Gyalpo is said to have passed away bodily in the way of a sky fair in his 125th year at Riwache. Yeah, so please look into this on your own, everybody. It's quite fascinating. He has a rich history, like plugged into everybody. And sorry if that was a little bit rough, but at least we have a yogi for today and preserved this great Tangtong Gyalpo a little bit. And now you know also that he was a suspension bridge builder and much more. So thank you for this gathering today and being here for this. Are there any comments, questions, sharing? Yes?
Hey, really quick, just say thank you. Just saying thank you, and I felt a connection to this figure as a builder of bridges, as a blacksmith, fabricator. I thought it was really interesting that this guy was, a spiritual adept, but then he was all these other things too. So
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Rangshin is the rope bridge builder, an artist
And a
sculptor.
blacksmith. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, we have artists out here doing welding, and they just make the most amazing things. Um, one of my neighbors, he welds from solar panels. It's pretty amazing. Hmm. Yeah, you can do a lot with welding. Very cool. Oh, good to hear. I'm glad it benefited and it was nice for some people. And thank you for listening. Are there any other thoughts? Anything before we close out? All good. It's weekend time. Thank you for hanging out in the name of the Dharma on the weekend. Very nice. And I hope you, your family, the animals around you, everything doing okay, doing good. And you're getting everything that you need, all the food and clean food and water and everything. Yeah. And maybe even some time off to rest, to relax. Well, thanks, David. It's gonna be a rare occasion where you see me reading from Wiki. Is definitely my last resort, but I read it once before and I trusted it, but it was pretty choppy and fragmented for my preference, but that's okay. So, anyway, yeah, I'll let y'all contract back out or expand back out to your happenings, and we'll just take a moment of silence. Then, is that moment of silence? You know when we're doing that. Okay. So, these gatherings are considered very meritorious. If that's the case, any benefit that we stirred up today, their beings in this very presence, their suffering, and we dedicate it all to them. Deep bow to you, everybody. Take care. Thank you.